In this episode, we're going to set the stage for this entire podcast, and you're going to learn the number one thing that took me from living very passively to actively creating. You ready? Let's do it. Hello, you are listening to the Love Your Life as a Performer podcast. I'm Kelly Youngman, and I am the life coach for performers. I help actors, singers, and dancers love themselves and their lives way more. So keep listening to learn how you can love your life both on and off the stage. Hello, you are listening to the very first episode of the Love Your Life as a Performer podcast. I am so excited to be here and to finally be putting this out into the world. So thank you for being here. Before we get started, I do want to just set the container for this podcast. I want for you to know that this podcast is a tool and a resource for you. So you get to decide how you want to show up. You get to decide how you want to utilize the thoughts and concepts that come up on the podcast. And you also get to decide what doesn't serve you, right? We're all going to be at different chapters of our growth and different stages of our journey. And I would love to make the agreement that you will not use this podcast or anything that's said on this podcast against you in any way to shame or judge or criticize yourself, but only to give yourself the opportunity to grow from inquiry, curiosity, and openness. I do tell all of my clients that I like to think of myself as a truth mirror, and there are going to be moments when I hold that mirror up. And I'm always doing that with love, because that is what we need in life to make any significant change. We need the truth. We need to be willing to see the honest truth of what's happening, not what we're making it mean, right? And when we go to our friends and our family and we want them to agree and we want them to sort of like be on our side about things, like that's not a problem, and that's not going to get you a different result. So if you continue listening, just know that I am taking my role as a coach and as your truth mirror very seriously. Okay. The next thing I want to say is that these first few episodes are really going to be laying the foundation for all of the work to come. So I want you to be willing to really hear these and maybe even listen to them multiple times so that you give yourself the opportunity to hear it in a new way, because that is where the growth is. That's how you really go deeper with these concepts. Because the truth is, nothing that I say on this podcast is going to be completely new information, right? Like it might be new to you, and it might be even new to me and how I'm learning and discovering it. But all of these concepts exist in the personal development, self-help space, right? And my commitment is to share them in a way that I've been able to understand and apply them in my own life so that you can have access to thoughts and ideas that will also make a huge impact in yours. Okay, so give yourself the opportunity to really sit with these ideas, try them on, and as always, take what serves you and leave what doesn't, right? You are the one in the driver's seat of your life always, and especially with this podcast and how you choose to engage with it. So yeah, let's just jump right in. I think that brings us perfectly to the first concept that I want to talk about, which is the fact that you are a powerful creator. I'm going to say that again. You are a powerful creator, and you are the powerful creator of your own life. I want you to let that sink in, because I think a lot of times we forget that life is a creation rather than something that is just happening to us. And I know for me, there was a point in my life where I didn't know this was a fact. I didn't know that this was a fact. I kind of felt like, especially when I think back to like my high school and college days, it was like life was happening and I just had to get up and keep going. And it was like, all right, I'm just going to hope something good happens today. And oh God, there's another shitty thing. But like, at I guess I just have to deal with it. And this is just my job in life, is to just like handle the things that come my way and navigate them and trust that what's meant for me is meant for me. Now, I definitely subscribe to the idea that what's meant for me will never pass me by. And what is different about how I was living then versus now is that it was much more passive, right? It was so passive. I was just like, okay, like praying, like, please, I'm ready for something good to happen. Is something good going to happen yet? Like I was just waiting, right? And so I was really introduced to the idea that I was a powerful creator when I read my very first self-help book, You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend it. And actually, I have an entire book list with my recommendations that I'm going to link in the show notes below. But yeah, it was a great first step into the self-help world. And when I read this, it just blew my mind. I was like, wait a second. Why did no one tell me this? What is going on right now? Is this like what? Like my mind just literally was blown open and it completely shattered everything that I thought my life was and gave me so much agency and so much freedom to really play in what I wanted my life to look like. And so, yeah, in case you haven't heard, you are the powerful creator of your life. You are the powerful creator of your life. Now, I know for me, there was moments where I was first trying this idea on and I was like, whoa, wait a second. If I am the powerful creator of my life, what about all those shitty things that happened? Did I create those too? And here's a truth mirror moment, okay? You ready? You might have. You might have. That's not to say that you have to blame yourself or that you have to feel bad about it. And when we are believing certain things about ourselves, we will continue to create them. So for example, I used to be so stressed out about money, like so freaking stressed. I would make a budget over and over again. I just look at all this debt that I had when I was in college and I would just freak out, right? I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be in debt forever. I am never going to pay this off, right? But the way I was viewing my life and telling the story was like, I'm going to be in debt forever, right? So every month I was just in more and more debt. So all of that to say is that you are the powerful creator of your life and you get to start telling a new story. And this is where the fun is because you just get to decide. You get to decide always, every single day. Life is just a bunch of decisions we're making and all of the power is in right here and right now. Now, I also know from my experience as a coach that your brain might not be able to believe everything I'm saying just yet. And that is not a problem. Totally not a problem. And I want you to just be willing to try it on, right? If you are the powerful creator of your life, how could that be true? Right? Like, how could it be true that you are the powerful creator of your life? So I want to give you just a few examples of ways that you are already powerfully creating, right? We're always creating, always. Always. We're always creating, right? Whether it's wanted or unwanted, we're always in the process of creation. So I want you to think about the last time you decided to cut your hair, right? There was a moment where you had the thought, I need a haircut. Okay? You had the thought. And you either decided to call someone up, right? Make an appointment, go to a hair salon or a barber, and you went and you got a haircut. And then after the appointment, you walked out and you had a haircut. Now, I know this might seem silly, but that was a creation. That was you making a decision and then following through and having a new haircut. You did that. That is the perfect example of a creation. Another way you may already be creating in your life is think about the days where you take time to be super intentional, right? Maybe you have an audition early in the morning, so you go to bed at a specific time and you decide what you're going to have for breakfast, and you give yourself the opportunity to really go to your audition feeling like your best self, right? That is the perfect example of a creation. Because in the planning, in the preparation, in the decisions and choices to go to bed early and pick what you're going to wear, et cetera, right? You are literally creating the outcome that you want. You are pre-paving and creating the experience that you are going to have, right? You are creating that with your decisions that you're making today. And here is why, again, all of the power lies in today. So often we start thinking about tomorrow and the next day, and we start taking on all of these beliefs about ourselves, right? Like the example I gave about me being in debt. I just had decided at one point, I'm just going to be in debt forever. I'm going to have these student loans till I die. That's literally what I used to say. And in those decisions, in that pre-paving, I was never creating the possibility of me being financially free, of me being and feeling good about money. I literally wasn't creating the space for that possibility. So every day I was waking up and experiencing the same thoughts, the same feelings, and keeping myself in this vibration of debt. I was expecting to be the person who was always struggling with money, so I kept being the person who was always struggling with money. Does that make sense? So I want you to think about, what is the story that you're currently telling about your life? Is it what you want to be experiencing? Right? Is it what you genuinely want to be experiencing, or are you telling yourself the story of your life based on the things that have happened in the past, right? Are you just saying it is what it is? This is the cards I was dealt, and now I just have to deal with it. Because again, here is the most important thing I want you to take away from this episode. If you're multitasking, come back to me and really just hear this one thought. You are the powerful creator of your life. You are the one in the driver's seat. You get to start making any decision you want to make to start living the life you want to have. It is not outside of you. It is 100% within your control. And you have to be willing to take the responsibility for the decisions and the outcomes and the results that you want to have. And I promise we're going to get into all of that on this podcast. And it starts with being willing to see and believe that you are the powerful creator of your life. The way that you are telling the story, the way that you are showing up on a daily basis, that is what is creating the same thing that happens tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So I want to invite you and challenge you to really look at, who am I being today? What am I expecting to happen? Right? If you tell yourself this is going to be a shitty day, and I just know it, I feel it, the certainty in that is what creates the outcome, right? It's not like, oh my God, I was so right. I knew it was going to be a terrible day. The reason you're having the terrible day is because you're expecting it. What would it look like if you started expecting good things to happen? What if you started expecting and visualizing and creating the things that you want to be happening? All that takes is a switch of focus, and you are the one who gets to create that switch, right? So again, from this episode, I really want you to hear that you are the powerful creator of your life. Start looking at, what am I creating? What is the story that I'm telling, right? What am I expecting to happen? And what would it look like if I genuinely expected the things that I wanted to happen? That is where all the power is. In your thoughts, in your focus, and in your decisions. You are the powerful creator of your life. It is all in your hands, and that is a beautiful thing. It's not outside of you. It's not based on circumstances. It's not based on where you were born, how much money you have. It's not based on any of that. None of those outside factors determine what comes next in your life. It is 100% up to you. You are the powerful creator of your life, and you get to decide what comes next. Okay, so now you freaking know. You are the powerful creator of your life, and I can't wait to see what you create next. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, make sure to share it with a friend who is also an actor, singer, or dancer. You can also help spread the word by leaving us a review wherever you listen to podcasts in order to help people find this resource. Lastly, you can find me on Instagram at Kelly Youngman Wellness. And if you're interested in coaching, make sure to head to kellyyoungmanwellness.com/waitlist to join my list now. See you soon.